A convincing fake login page can capture your password and one-time code in seconds. With a passkey, there is no reusable password to type, and the credential is bound to the real website. That blocks some of today's most effective account takeover techniques. But it does not make malware, stolen unlocked devices, weak recovery, or bad account design disappear. In this video, we will see what a passkey actually is, how the browser, device, and website interact, what passkeys stop, what they do not, and how to avoid turning account recovery into the new weakest link. Popular passkey explainers work because they begin with the familiar pain of passwords, reveal one simple cryptographic exchange, and then show the sign-in on several devices. We adapt that clear, problem-first pacing and progressive diagrams only. The wording, analogy, practical example, artwork, and scene composition here are original to CipherVibe. Imagine that every website gives you a unique wax stamp. The website keeps a public pattern that can recognize your seal, but it never receives the private stamp. When you sign in, the website sends a fresh card. Your device verifies the website, asks you to unlock the stamp locally, and seals that exact card. A copied seal from yesterday cannot answer today's card, and a fake website cannot ask for the real website seal. That is the core idea behind a passkey. During registration, an authenticator creates a unique public and private key pair for that account and service. The service stores the public key. The private key remains under the control of the authenticator or passkey provider. It may be device-bound, or it may be protected and synchronized across a user's devices. Your fingerprint, face, device PIN, or local password is not the passkey. It is the local user verification step that unlocks use of the credential. Biometric information stays on the device. The website receives a cryptographic result, not your fingerprint image. Passkeys use FIDO standards, including WebAuth in between the website and browser or app, with authenticator communication handled by platform components and protocols such as CTAP. The user experience feels simple because the complex key operation happens behind the device unlock prompt. Here is the interaction. First, the service sends a fresh random challenge and identifies the relying party, the website context for the credential. The browser or app passes the request to an eligible authenticator. Your device asks for local approval, such as a fingerprint or PIN. The authenticator signs data tied to that challenge and relying party context. The service verifies the signature with the stored public key. The private key never needs to cross the network. A database breach at the service exposes public keys, which are not useful for impersonating users. A captured response is not reusable because the next challenge is different. And a lookalike phishing domain cannot normally invoke a credential registered for the legitimate domain. Implementation details matter, but the security benefit is structural. The protocol checks the destination instead of depending on a person to notice one misleading character in a URL. Passkeys are designed to resist credential phishing because the authenticator is bound to the legitimate relying party. They stop password reuse and credential stuffing because there is no shared password copied across sites. They prevent simple replay because each authentication answers a fresh challenge. They also reduce the value of a stolen authentication database. The service stores public keys rather than password-equivalent secrets. When user verification is required, a passkey can combine possession of the authenticator with a local knowledge or biometric check. That can provide a convenient multi-factor experience without typing a password and a text code. This does not mean every product labeled passwordless has identical properties. An emailed magic link, an SMS code, a push approval, and a FIDO passkey are different approaches. Magic links depend on email security. SMS can be intercepted or socially engineered. Push can suffer approval fatigue. Passkeys provide strong origin-bound cryptographic authentication when implemented correctly. Passkeys are not a force field. Malware running with sufficient access may steal an active session, manipulate what a user sees, or act after authentication. An attacker holding an already unlocked device may use available accounts. A malicious browser extension or compromised endpoint creates risks outside the core passkey exchange. Passkeys also do not stop scams that persuade someone to send money, install remote access software, disclose private information, or approve a harmful business action. They do not repair weak authorization, insecure APIs, excessive privileges, or poor session management. Account recovery can bypass the strongest login. If a service lets anyone reset access through a weak email inbox, guessable questions, or an easily hijacked phone number, attackers will target that route. Organizations must also secure Passkey enrollment and removal. A session thief who can silently add a new Passkey may convert temporary access into persistent control. A synced Passkey is protected by a Passkey provider and made available across a user's trusted devices. This improves convenience and recovery, but the security of the provider account, device enrollment, and synchronization process becomes part of the threat model. A device-bound Passkey does not leave its authenticator. Hardware security keys are a common example. This can provide stronger device assurance and suit administrators, regulated environments, or shared workstation workflows. The trade-off is recovery. Lose the only authenticator, and the credential is gone, so high-assurance deployments commonly register a separate backup authenticator. Cross-device authentication lets a nearby phone approve sign-in on another device without copying the private key to that computer. It is useful on a borrowed or less trusted screen, but users should still verify prompts and proximity. Consumer accounts often favor synced passkeys. Privileged enterprise roles may favor managed, device-bound credentials, or a hybrid model. The right choice depends on risk, regulation, support capacity, and how people actually work. Consider fictional North Star design. It begins with administrators and a volunteer pilot. Each employee registers a managed laptop passkey and a separate backup security key stored according to company policy. Enrollment requires a recent strong authentication and records who added each credential. For daily sign-in, the laptop uses local biometric or PIN verification. On a temporary workstation, the employee can use the hardware key or a permitted cross-device flow. The help desk never asks for a password or one-time code over the phone. Then the team runs a lost laptop exercise. Device access is revoked, active sessions are reviewed, the missing credential is removed, and the backup authenticator establishes access to enroll a replacement. Offboarding removes credentials and sessions promptly. High-risk actions, such as changing recovery contacts or adding another administrator, require fresh authentication and generate alerts. The lesson is that a Passkey rollout is not merely enabling a button. It is designing registration, inventory, recovery, revocation, support, and monitoring as one lifecycle. Common mistakes include enabling passkeys while leaving weak password or SMS recovery unchanged, allowing credential enrollment from an old session without fresh verification, keeping stale passkeys after devices or employees leave, and offering no clear way to name, review, or revoke authenticators. Do not assume biometrics are uploaded to the service. Explain that they are processed locally. Do not call every passwordless method phishing resistant. Verify the actual protocol and configuration. Do not force device-bound credentials on a population that cannot carry or replace them, and do not sync privileged credentials into unmanaged personal ecosystems without a risk decision. Watch for confusing prompts. Users need to know which account, device, and action they are approving. Protect session cookies, recovery contacts, provider accounts, and device enrollment. Rate limit and monitor recovery. Notify users when a passkey is added or removed. Maintain at least one tested, appropriately strong recovery route, and avoid creating so many fallback routes that attackers can choose the weakest one. Here is the Passkey checklist. Start with important personal accounts and high-risk organizational roles. Confirm that the service supports standards-based passkeys and understand whether credentials are synced or device-bound. Secure the device unlock method and the account that protects synchronization. Register more than one strong path where loss would be costly. Protect passkey enrollment, deletion, recovery contact changes, and administrative actions with recent authentication and notifications. Inventory credentials, remove stale ones, manage sessions, and rehearse lost device, replacement, and offboarding procedures. Remember the wax seal. The website keeps the public pattern. Your private stamp creates a fresh seal for the correct destination. That design blocks phishing for credentials, stuffing, and replay, but it cannot stop malware, session theft, fraudulent transactions, or weak recovery by itself. Passkeys are a major improvement because they remove the reusable secret from everyday sign-in. The safest deployment treats recovery and lifecycle controls as part of the authentication system, not as an afterthought. Copyright 2026 CipherVibe. All rights reserved.